Good evening, everyone, and welcome to what I hope to be a great day of PEL Contenders Promo. So technically, it is day 4, but it is day 3 because, as you guys probably know, we weren't really able to get anything going yesterday, unfortunately. But here are your leaderboards. Of course, nothing's changed from yesterday till today. There were some, I guess, some technical issues on the PUBG side of things, so hopefully everything will be buttery smooth today, and we'll get to watch 4 good games of PUBG. Now, for those of you guys who don't know exactly how this works, we're mainly, we're actually pretty much only looking at top 8. Not good. That doesn't mean that getting first place isn't a good thing. Second, third, fourth, you name it. But what you aim to do in this tournament is to get into top 8. So if you're Ferrari Breach, you're sitting just 3 points short right now. Of course, you wanna get up in there, and then all the way down. You can kind of see the list according. Everybody wants to get into top 8, and then by next week, more teams will be added. Better placed teams through Open, and some of those contenders teams from the previous phase will be added to the mix there, and that's when the competition really toughens up. And LXG, nope, it's not just because it's not because they've played excessively bad that they have 0 points. They have not been participating at all. So once we get in the game, you'll also be able to see that what am I trying to say here? Oh yeah, that there's only 15 teams on the server. So if you're wondering, oh, why is there 15 teams? That's because LXG are not playing. But first game, we've already made it further than we did yesterday. Yesterday we got kicked off pretty much immediately when we started the matches, but seems like the plane is in the sky. And if you want, I'm pretty certain you can do !map and you can find yourself the map stream, or you can press the top logo saying watch in squat mode, and you can you can choose all the screens you want to see. So I'm not sure if there's actually a Turkish broadcast or not. I know there is a Russian one, there's the main one, there's a map stream, and I'm not sure if there's a Turkish broadcast as well. But in any case, we are on Sanhok, and we haven't really had any of the previous days. We haven't really had any real engagements early on, so I wouldn't expect to see that here either. One thing that was interesting, though, talking about the leaderboards, is that we are halfway done with the first round. We have played 8 out of 16 games. So technically, and of course this never goes exactly like you think it will, but technically, if Ferrari Breach are currently sitting in 9th place with 42 points, then we should be able to just double up. Or if HeartShift is at 45 right now, then technically the 9th or the 8th place, or the I guess you can say the point to beat, will be at 90 points by the end of the next 8 games. So whatever team can reach 90 or more points should, in theory, make it to the next round. But of course, there's no saying in whether the same teams will do good or other teams could come up from behind. The teams that are currently top could do worse, and that could of course impact the leaderboards quite massively. But in theory, let's just say if you can get 100 points, you should be somewhat safe. Now, Boris, the guys in PLS, they've had an interesting run so far. They're currently sitting in 10th place, so not the best performance so far, but they do have quite a decent chunk of kills. They just don't really have the placement points to really back it up. I mean, as you can see in the leaderboards, they have managed to wrap up 31 kills. It's 9 kills more than Ferrari Breach, who are currently sitting ahead of them, but they only have 10 placement points in 8 games, which of course is not exactly a massive number. So for them, I mean, I don't know if they're going to try and prioritize getting better placements, or if they just want to keep on killing people, or what they want to do. But clearly, you can see just by looking at the leaderboards what has been their success and where they've kind of fallen off, I guess you can say. Further down the list, we have huge potential. Oh my lord, that's perfect timing from the observers. Literally going over to them as I say it. But we have huge potential down the list. Zolters and the gang, and then, well, they came off to a insanely good first day. I think they had, something along the lines of 3rd or 4th place on day 1. And I don't have this for a fact, but I'm pretty convinced that they did not get a single point. We're talking no kills and no placement points on day 2. So pretty much all their points, which were a pretty decent chunk, they got racked up on the first day. I mean, if they had doubled up, had they gotten double what they got on the first day, they would be sitting in first place right now. But because they had such a horrible second day, they're all the way down in 13th place. So so we'll see. We'll see if they can get things going today off of having a a tough day 2 days ago, and then yesterday, of course, everybody showed up to play, but there were no games to be played. So we'll see. And then if we go further up the list, I mean, I'm by the way, guys, I can see everything you guys say, and this is perfect because then we can interact more. And there's a lot of people writing Stella. So I'm gonna take a look at them real quick. Stella currently leads in kills. They have 43 kills so far, which is pretty impressive. I mean, the team closest to them currently sits at 42, make that, and that's your first place team. So Stella is 6 spots down from first place, but they actually have 1 more kill, which is a little interesting. The only difference is they only have 9 placement points. They have 9 placement points. They have the least placement points in the entire tournament so far, which is not me trying to be rude or make fun of them, but they have been able, of course, it does help that they had a 6th place with, I think, 16 kills, right? So they have barely even been able to get any placement points, but they are indeed racking up kills. And of course, on a map like Sanhok, that's pretty much the bread and butter. I mean, get a billion kills, and then if you get good placement, I guess that's fine. But technically, you wanna get yourself a lot of kills on a map like this, because you just don't really have the same chance to dictate the speed at which you take engagements on Sanhok. Like sometimes there'll be the team right next door and you can't really do a whole lot about it, whereas if you play on Erangel or if you play on Miramar, you normally have a better chance of seeing, oh, seems like these guys are moving closer to us, or ooh, seems like the circle is shrunk over here, now we can kind of expect this and that to happen. On this map, it's more of a, well, I guess there was a team right next to us that we never knew about, and that can be honestly quite difficult to deal with. So we'll see if they decide to change up their plan in terms of trying to get some more placement points, or if they just continue trying to kill everyone. Boris, they've made their way to the Eastern Island. We saw in the beginning of the game that it was indeed a Eastern Island circle, pretty much dead center on the island. So we'll see where the circle's gonna go. And then we have our team here, Crazy Crew, currently sitting in last place, but they actually had themselves a win on Erangel. Well, obviously not yesterday, but technically they had a win on the last day of the tournament. So I mean, up until today, obviously. So they had I think it was a 7 or 8 point win in YaZheSanzhar, which took them from, well, they remained in last place, but it doubled their points. So they're now much closer to the other teams than what they were before. We'll see iFai. We haven't really lost any players yet. Oh, he's gonna spot one. That's real close to it. Oh my lord, that got scary for a second. Nailcup hits a headshot, and that was extremely close. And what you saw there is the fact that iFai only has bandages. I think his teammate might just have picked up dropped him a first aid as Magic. I think he just dropped him a first aid, but that was very, very scary. Nice little turnaround, but unfortunately for him, no damage done. As J is the main man, but we also saw just before that Wildcats are nearby, so there's potentially 3-team fight going off very early on. HeartShift, well, they're sitting in 8th place now. Right now, they are technically the team to beat for a lot of these teams, especially for Boris, who want to make their way further forward. And they are both outside the circle. We only have 3 players in HeartShift trying to make their way in, but should be possible. For those of you guys who don't know what happened to LXG, I actually don't know. But they're just not, I mean, they're not playing. So whatever the reason may be, I don't know. And I guess now we can answer the question for me. If anyone else asks, Recorder finds the knock on 2-1, wants to get the flush, but you might want to reserve your bullets to try and take out the opponent coming at you. And he does as Manjek, and iFai goes down. And there's no pickup. There's no counterplay to it. You're way too late, XKeevo. He goes down, and now Marino from the side finds one, and that's going to be Spirit. Slaughtered. Within seconds, they were trying to breach the building. Recorder held strong, didn't even take any damage. Arguably, that 2-man split or 2-man push came in a little off angle. You normally want to be able to trade the knock immediately, but Asmadeyka wasn't there to help out immediately. And unfortunately, that's gonna be Team Spirit out of the equation much earlier than what they would have wanted to. Interesting start to the game. TonyTeam, we see here, currently sitting in 4th place, trying to rack up some points. they saw these teams fighting just before, and they want to see if they can find something. And did get the knock on towards Markelov, but ooh, that's no helmet for you. As you can see, distance to it. Shouldn't I wouldn't expect to see them try and push anything off this sword from this distance. I mean, there's simply no reason to at this point. That's an interesting shot for Marino. Not sure exactly what you were shooting at there, but just testing out the gun, you know, making sure everything's working. Could you imagine if you could get jammed weapons in PUBG? You pick up a gun and then all of a sudden it doesn't work. That would be that'd be unfortunate. Let's see, circle's gonna start closing in as we speak, and well, TXC up on your far western side, that is ToxicPlayers. They are, well, in all fairness, quite damn far outside of the circle, and they need to get going. Wouldn't be the easiest push for them. But I mean, at this point, they should have a pretty easy gate, which is at least to the correct side of the water. But from there, they could still get kept out in the blue, and now it's only phase 2. It doesn't do that much damage, but if you stick around for too much longer, that could end up being quite costly, to say the very least. Moonlight and Level, our first place team, they're sitting around Quarry, trying to see if they can hold off some rotations, and now we got them moving. ToxicPlayers, oh, that's a bike, a nifty upgrade. And they are indeed all making their way forward, trying to get inside the next circle. Sammy is already on a vehicle. It's going to send it full speed up the hill. And then we have Ferrari Breach making their way all around the circle, trying to rotate all the way through on foot, as we see here, making their way in from the northern side. I'll have to see in just about a minute's time whether they get to stick around here or not. But of course, 4 guys alive early on should make things good for them. FLasm goes down. He's our current first place player in terms of both damage and kills, and he's gonna get knocked early. I'm not sure if Ferrari Breach is gonna be in a position to get the rest up. MJ finds him. That's gonna be Iffy down. Great damage done by HeartShift. Iffy manages to nade his teammate. I don't think that was on purpose, but it happens. I think he got knocked with a nade in hand, and that took out both of them. Moonlight, I think we call that one a desperation nade, thrown forward, even hits the tree and bounces back towards himself. Both Yaz and Moonlight are currently caught in a bit of a pickle here, because they can't really run back the way they came. Stella is over there now, and you can see Stella up on the minimap. They're looking down in the direction of HeartShift too, so they will anticipate people to be down in this corner. So for a level to go down into Quarry, that might just have been the worst idea they could come up with. New circle is gonna pop, and whoa, if you're in Quarry right now, you do not want to see this shift, because playing this circle from where MJ Esports is, or west of that, is gonna be extremely hard. You can see this is actually a really good play, really smart play by Boris. Is just say, you know what, there's no reason for us to try and take a fight down here. We got 40 seconds until the circle starts pushing. We need to get a spot inside before we get part of what possibly will be the complete and utter cluster of teams trying to run into each other on the southern side. Seems like still they have the same plan, but Extensive hurt one. He spots him as well. Jambawe gets knocked. He's going to get flushed immediately too, and he needs to get going. Extens needs to run the hell out of here, because his opponents are just behind them. Rewap go down. What? Did he just get a full... I didn't see any vehicle explosion. Did he just one spray the entirety of Rewap? Okay, we didn't see that, but I would assume that a vehicle was involved in that, and that they were all in the same car or something, because if he shut them all down with one spray and they were in the open running, that would be that would be pretty impressive. But obviously we didn't see it, so that I mean, how fast their names popped up in the kill feed, I would strongly assume that it had something to do with the vehicle. But then again, we saw gun logos on all the players, so that normally means that that they were indeed shot. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we get the replay opportunity to see it there. Level, they're gonna get out to first place, go down. Sellis and Beami managed to get the kills. They already lost one player. Keep that in mind. Jambawe went down just before, but they do manage to rack up some points at least. HeartShift, well, they heard Stella shooting, and it seems like they're gonna go against the circle, go out towards the edge and see if they can find them. A huge potential. They're fighting just on the other side. That nade blows right behind him. He needs to get healed on up, and everybody, as I said, everybody are fighting on the south side of the circle, and that's exactly why we saw Boris run further north. I said, yes, we can get points down here, sure, but we can also easily get killed, so why not why not start pushing forward instead of sitting down here and waiting? They can always kill whatever is left over when they get into the circle. Enot managed to get himself a knock on towards Drake. Good concentration with the M4. Truck is still alive, but he's disengaging on this. He does not want to sit around any longer. Last remaining player of his team needs to get the hell out of here. And as you can see, where can he go? In between two compounds of Wildcats and MJ Esports. That's one option. The other option is just, well, I mean, to try and cross the road and most likely lead to your death. HeartShift out of the circle. Mike is still there, and I believe they have one more. Yep, MJO is pushing. They're actually both pushing inside the compound, despite being miles out in the blue. New circle's gonna pop right about now, but I think both Sellis and the guys, they have a much more imminent thing to focus on. Mike gets flushed. MJO is still inside the building, still unsure why they decided to push this way, but maybe they would have hoped that Stella had left this area, which unfortunately is not the case. MJ is sitting in the building. He's keeping Sellis from moving, essentially. And, well, look at this positioning from FBI. All of a sudden starts to pay off pretty damn well. They took the fire rotation up around the northern side, and now they're sitting in a very, very, very good spot in the circle. So we'll see. MJ finds Sellis, then the barrel up close. Few weapons can deal with them. One first aid left for... You know what? I don't think you're gonna survive, mate. Beami might not even be able to make it inside the circle. You can see he's being contained by multiple opponents around him. Sits tight for a little while longer. The circle's going to start closing in just a short moment. Enot was rest once more, but goes down again. And now alrein and GRHawk are trying to be contained by Istanbul Wildcats. They had a win yesterday. They had 2 wins in a row, actually. It wasn't yesterday. It was the day before. 2 wins in a row. 1 on Miramar and 1 on Sanhok. Arguably, their win on Sanhok and on Miramar actually was kind of given by them having some really, really decent circles go towards them. But of course, it's not always just the circles. It's about how well you play in the end game, and that's not always guaranteed by circles. Beami, we see in the corner. He has a fight with one of the Boris players, and it ain't gonna be easy either. Nate's thrown, Nate's blown. And as you can see, he's chunking down very quickly, and he's going to die to the blue. Unfortunately, he is going to go down. Nate was thrown forward, and now MOLNMAN by himself to this has become a fight in blue that they would not want to take. Beami manages to nade himself, probably deny those points. Makes sense in this case. I mean, no reason to try and give potential knock points to your opponents. And now Wildcats are going out into the blue too, so everybody's fighting miles out into the blue, and with this circle connecting just now, we are going to be very, very, and I mean scary close to lethal damage from these blue circles. I mean, going into circle 4, it starts chunking up quite massively. MJO miles out into the blue. He's trying to have a fight with MOLNMAN, who's also miles out into the blue. MOLNMAN's gonna go down still. 11th place for them, so keeping the no placement point, get kills instead strategy going. And you can see everybody right now. We're seeing so many people die to the blue, and in all fairness, I think blue has done more damage at this point in this game than anyone else has even come close to. Everybody's fighting either in or around the blue, and everyone's trying to push forward, but there's so many teams waiting on the other side that makes things extremely hard. Stratus down in blue, Genso down in blue. The blue monster wants them all, and it continues closing in, trying to find more players to take down with it. Let's see, Traverillo, Crazy Crew. They haven't really been active this game yet, but they do get a knock on towards Amina. Are they gonna push on it though? Traverillo has been one of the, I guess you can say, anchor points of Crazy Crew. Whenever they've had good performances, it's normally come out of him having a good start. LG finds the knock on towards Juno. Ojala all by himself now, 1v4. They know where to expect him from, and they are going to find him as well. Crazy Crew sitting in last place so far, but a good pickup of 3 kills and technically a placement point too. So 4 points secured on the game with those kills coming in there. Istanbul Wildcats still on the far side, and FBI Ferrari Breach have secured themselves a spot in the middle of the circle. But maybe just maybe this is a middle they wouldn't want, because there are potentially going to be players from multiple angles looking at them. For sure, it's going to be hard to keep an eye out for all of the different angles that these players could be coming from. Shots fired from the distance. FBI again Have to contain. That's one of the main tasks when you try to go for center position late in the game. You have to hold everyone away, because if one team smells a chance to third party, that could easily be you eliminated, because so many eyes are looking your way. Perfect. Got 7 bandages, sits with the M16 and does manage to find himself a knock and the flush as well. So damage done. Boris securing their 3rd kill of the game. xKeevo goes down. That's in the northern side. Trying to hide behind the tree ain't gonna grant him anything. Okay, so Vital flushes his teammate. Vital flushes his teammate. Now he's gone down. That's unfortunate. Nade thrown backwards as well. Not going to do any damage. Lazo was taken down earlier. Now Apocalypse trying to stay put in Tower. Vilo on the other side goes, wait. Did you guys both just die because you flushed your teammate? That's unfortunate, but it did happen nonetheless. And now TonyTeam on the western side. They seem to be in a good spot. Tower Vilo by himself wanted to flush on towards Perfect God. I'm not sure if he's going to get it, though. Seems like they are indeed committing to the rest. And TonyTeam, they know for a fact that Apocalypse is over here, because it just took down Lasses, so it's just about them trying to find one more. And this could potentially be a 4-man strong TonyTeam pushing into a 4-man strong Ferrari breach by the end of this game if everything goes the way they wanted to. Great shots connected by Arco, managed to find the flush on towards one. Oh, shots fired from the side. Oh, this is what we were just talking about. You need to be so damn aware of your surroundings if you're trying to play the middle. When you play on the blue side, you have, well, I mean, technically blue on your back, so there's always one side you don't really have to worry too much about. But as to when you play in the middle, like we saw FBI do just before, and currently doing it kind of as well, they can come from everywhere. And every time you shoot, you have to look backwards to make sure that there's nobody lurking up from behind. Apocalypse now forced to push into the open. Feberino finds him, and that's going to be Wildcats out in 5th place. But a decent game from them nonetheless. They had a couple of kills alongside a top 5 placement. Should rack them up around 5 points or a little more. We'll see now. Proof, he smiles out into the blue. Should go down at some point soon, I would assume. Might be able to get that next first aid off. Let's see. Yes, gets it off. But he is still getting chunked down massively. And he's sticking around, actually. Does have one more first aid. So might be able to get one placement higher if he can force some of these teams to take fights. But what we're seeing is a 4-man strike, 3 teams with 4 players alive, but they're both looking at Boris, and they are now starting to drop like flies. Just extends left alive. That went damn fast, and they are all eliminated within seconds. Marco found practically all of them. A little help from Sappin on the side, but that's going to be a 4-man strong team eliminated absurdly fast. And well, as you see here, the first 8 master in ToxicPlayers on proof manages to find his team a 2nd place. That's fortunate. Sometimes it does pay off. Sit a little while longer out there in the blue. So one more placement obtained by him. And now 9 kills for TonyTeam. They have been holding the west side. Ferrari Breach have been holding the east. And we're in a full-on 4v4. Not something you see too often on Sanhok, but, well, currently at least, it's all up to Ferrari Breach to contain, because TonyTeam are all on the edge of the circle. And they have to hold the buff. You can see Feberino and his teammate, they're pushing over the top. And Arco and Marcus, they have to be able to hold them. They have to be ready for them as well. Where are you playing from, Marco? He's playing from the side, and that's a great off angle to play from indeed. Blackliht down to low HP. FBI could potentially be in for their first one here. Feberino down to the blue. Blackliht down as well. It's just 2 players left alive. Sappin, he doesn't see him on the tree. Maybe he does. He throws the nade straight into his face, but he's not able to locate him. There you go. Finally finds him. Papagoy, last player alive, and he is going to go down to clean sweep for Ferrari Breach. 9 kills and a win, and what a way to finish that one off. Great game for them. Again, we complimented them on the wide rotation early on, and it turned out to pay off pretty damn well. They were sitting down in, I believe, somewhere around 9th place coming into it, and I am rather convinced that they are going to be, if not all the way in top 5, then somewhere close to it. That should be a very, very good pickup of 19 points. And the fact of the matter is that level, well, they went down early. Rewap went down early. Stella went down early. 3 of the teams that we were seeing in the top previously. So with Ferrari racking up as many points as they did, that could for sure be a top 3, maybe 4th place position coming into the next game. I must admit that with yesterday's games being postponed, I'm actually not sure whether we are seeing 2 Miramar games or 2 Wrangler games today, but I'll find out as soon as I can. And also technically it doesn't matter too much, because it's going to be one today and it's going to be the other tomorrow. So technically it doesn't matter too much, but it is interesting nonetheless to see, because there are for sure some teams here that have been striving more on Miramar than they have on Erangel, and the other way around too. So I'm interested in seeing how things are going to unfold coming into the next couple of games. But for sure, a good game for Breach. I mean, they were what did we talk about coming into the game? They were 3 points out, and we kind of expected them to be able to make it in. But this game right here, it just puts them way up and above. I mean, that's of course no guarantee. There's still 7 games left to play, but they're pretty well set, I would say, coming into the next couple of games. And if they can continue racking up just some points, they should be just fine with that. Breach, as you can see here, they'll win the first game. Next game, I don't think it's actually going to start at 1950. It's going to start before that, guys. So stick around. Normally the breaks, after I'm done talking and we go to the music, normally the breaks don't take more than 5-6 minutes. So stick around no matter what. And don't go too far away, because you don't want to miss these games. They're pretty damn exciting. But as I said, level and rewap down to low points. Huge potential that man should rack up 3, so some points for them. And Stella, again, no placement points, but kills. That's they're continuing the performance they've had so far. Who cares about wins if you can just kill people? That's what they did 4 times in this game, finding themselves a decent amount of points. And then you can see up there in the top, 19 points for Ferrari, Breach, and TonyTeam, to be honest, as well. They might be pushing into first place based on that win. I mean, they were sitting in 2nd or 3rd coming into it, and that's a good performance by them there too. Ferrari, Breach, 2 players up on the top, Marco and Arco, both very, very good players. And, well, I mean, they deserve to be up there, so decent chunk of damage done by them. We didn't have anyone in the 500 plus. I mean, Arco, one damage point from doing so. 5 kills for him as well. Sellis managed to find 3, and that's, again, the fun thing about Stella. I mean, they have all these breakout players. I think we've seen at this point, everyone on Stella have extremely good games. And the fact that they can manage to rack up all those points before we even get into placements, that's, in all fairness, pretty damn impressive. Ferrari, they were sitting in a total of a little over 1,000 damage. Tony just behind, but they're tied up in kills. Only the placement points were the difference. You can see the damage overall from the top players here as well. But guys, that is going to be it for game number 1. I'm going to throw it to a short break, and then I will be right back. So stick around, and I'll see you guys real soon.